What's going on, y'all? It's JD Pickell with On 3. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to be taking a pulse of the Alabama football program. Welcome into the Hard Count, the People's Show. For every single thing that you know and that you love about college football, it happens here on a nearly daily basis. Nick Brake is doing the heavy lifting. You can help drive the show at my Twitter page, at JD Pickell. The pulse of the program, our series, continues today as we jump in our Jetta or Sprinter van, whatever we want to take, Nick, and we take our drive all the way down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to put our two fingers on the wrist of the Crimson Tide football program. It's an interesting time right now in Alabama. They're coming off a year where they were the national runner-up. It's not a phrase you like to hear much in Titletown and Tuscaloosa. It's not something they really are accustomed to saying all that frequently. All that's to say, what is the pulse right now in Tuscaloosa? Well, to start, I think they feel like they're reloaded. Like Alabama last year, by a lot of people's accounts, was in some way, shape, or form fortunate to be in that situation, to be able to play for a national title. And that's not a knock on Alabama by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, it is a compliment to Nick Saban and to his program for being able to outperform what they had on the roster, because last year they were really green. And you saw that in the national title game, especially in the secondary. That's not going to be the case this coming year. You got Bryce Young coming off a Heisman Trophy season where he's another year comfortable, another year into this system. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So Bryce Young being able to come back after having a huge Heisman Trophy winning season is crucial for them, obviously. Bringing 7 of the 11 returning starters back on defense. They're going to add, I don't know how many guys they're going to start for this team from the transfer portal. I mean, you go down this list of transfers from Jahmyr Gibbs to Eli Ricks, Tyler Harrell. They got some guys that can do some damage. Jahmyr Gibbs, for a lot of people, the best player in the ACC a year ago. He's going to have to tote the rock quite a bit for them this coming year. And so all that's to say, they really are reloaded. It's a cliche around college football. Alabama doesn't rebuild, they just reload, but it could not be more true for them this year. They're ready to run it back and to appear yet again in the national title game. So reloaded is the first way that we would define the pulse of Alabama. The second piece of this, it feels like they're almost more poised than they were a year ago. Not to say they weren't poised or they weren't ready for the moment, but in a lot of ways, they're more battle tested than they were a year ago. This team has been through some tough games. They've been through the fire. They know what it's like walking off the field in a national title game and having confetti falling for the opposition. I think as a whole, that's only going to benefit Alabama. That's only going to make them stronger. And Nick Saban, if this tells you anything, from my own estimation, whenever he talks about his football program, you take it with a grain of salt because he's going by Saban standards. And Saban standards are like way out of the frame. They're way up here. And what will win in college football is usually a little bit lower than that. Like the job will get done a little bit below Saban standards. So he will tell you probably the more pessimistic side of the equation when talking about his football program. But in talking about his program in the spring, he says, yeah, fun group to coach. Got some good leaders. Not really a whole lot of troublemakers on the team. Like, it's a good group. If I were an opposing SEC coach hearing Saban say it's a fun group to coach, first of all, I don't know how many times Nick Saban has called anything fun. That's not a knock on Nick Saban. Dude's just about his business. He's a pro. I mean, it is what it is. If I heard him calling this group fun to coach, I would be very concerned. Just full transparency, I would be very concerned. I think this team has learned from their mistakes. They've brought in some pieces, like we mentioned, that's going to make them more polished. And so poise is the second term I would put to this team in terms of their pulse. They're making no arguments about what they want to do. They have made the goal very clear, which leads me to my next point. They are more motivated, more re-energized than I think any program in college football right now. Because like I already said, they walked off that field last year in triple zeros, and they were second place. Alabama doesn't do second place, y'all. Like they don't like to do second place. Nobody likes to do second place, but Alabama is not accustomed to doing second place. Bryce Young said it at the Manning Passing Academy. He's like, we failed last year. We did not complete the mission last year. The standard is national titles, and we did not meet that. To have your starting quarterback, who won the most prestigious individual award in all of college football, say last year was a failure? Folks, this team is ready to roll. They are chomping at the bit for game one. And so to have a team reloaded, refreshed, if you will, like Alabama is on their roster, dudes up and down the roster coming back that are going to be key contributors, Henry To'oTo'o being one of them, one of the leaders on that defense, going to the transfer portal, getting guys that are going to help them in game one. It's huge. To be battle tested, to have seen the adversity that can hit you when you're not prepared, can hit you when you're not necessarily ready for what's coming down the pipe at you. They're more poised. They're more poised than they were last year. They're poised coming into this year. And they're re-energized. They're chomping at the bit. They're ready to get after it. All the cliches in the world you want to throw about Alabama being ready to play for week one, you can throw them out there right now. Because this team is coming for blood. They are coming for what they feel like they should have done a year ago. And they're looking to complete the mission. Bottom line, I'd be worried if I were playing Alabama anywhere on my schedule. Just the way it is. That's it for us here on the Hard Count. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. We've had a lot of growth. It's really exciting. It's nothing to do with us on this show. It's all y'all. This community has grown really fast, and we love it. We're grateful for it. So please comment. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear about next. We operate on an audience kind of system, so we're going to keep it at that. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.